Okay, so let us start. So again, so we will be discussing all about the different medically important bacteria. So medically important meaning these are the microorganisms that are capable of causing diseases in humans. And the first group of diseases that will, of microorganisms rather, that we will be discussing are the gram-positive bacteria. Just a quick review of what we have discussed during our bacterial morphology discussion. Okay, gram-positive organisms are characterized by a thick peptidoglycan cell wall. So this is the differentiating point, okay, between gram-positive and gram-negative organisms. So because they have a thick peptidoglycan cell wall, they tend to retain the crystal violet dye, the primary stain that is being used during gram staining. So they will appear purple or violet under the microscope. Okay, what else? Aside from having a thick peptidoglycan wall, they lack an outer membrane. They often possess a teichoic or lipoteichoic acid, which contributes to the integrity of the bacterial cell wall and the pathogenicity or the ability of these microorganisms to cause diseases. Okay, now, ano ba ang clinical importance nito mga microorganisms, ng mga gram-positive organisms natin? So, most of the gram-positive bacteria are part of the normal human flora. So, yung ating, what do you call this? The normal flora of our body, yung normal inhabitants of our body, kasama itong mga to. But several of these gram-positive organisms are capable of mounting a disease process in humans. Okay, most of them are responsible for community-acquired and hospital-acquired infections. All right. So, again, a quick review of the characteristics of your gram-positives. So, they can either be cocci or bacilli. If you still remember, we have 6 gram-positive bacteria. We have 2 cocci. Okay, staph and strep. And then we have 4 bacilli, 2 of which are spore-forming, and then the other 2 are non-spore-forming. Okay, and these gram-positive bacteria can either be aerobic, anaerobic, or facultative. Okay, so say facultative, so pwede sila kahit small amounts of oxygen. Now, again, there are gram-positive rods that are non-spore forming. There are those naman that are spore forming as well. All right, let us start with the gram-positive cocci. Okay, so again, you have staph and strep. So you have Staphylococcus. Okay, the general characteristics of this Staphylococcus species are as follows. So they are gram-positive and they appear in clusters, kumpul-kumpol, so grape-like clusters. They are facultative anaerobe, so meaning, pag sabing anaerobic, ayaw nila ng oxygen, ayaw nila ng hangin, takot sila, mamamatay sila. But for Staphylococcus, they can live even with small amount of oxygen, kayang matolerate. And they are catalase positive. So, pag may ASE again sa dulo, these are enzymes. So, enzymes that causes the clotting of the blood plasma. Okay? So, nagka-clot yung plasma. So, what happens? Kapag nag-clot yung plasma, what happens is that they will coat the Staphylococcus, the bacteria. So, naitatago sila. Okay? So, they hide inside that clot that was produced by the enzyme catalase, which is produced by the Staphylococcus. So, para ma-evade nila yung what do you call this, yung immune system natin. Okay, immune system cells. Let's start with Staphylococcus aureus or Staph aureus. So they are coagulase positive and they appear as golden yellow colonies on culture media. Ayan yung nasa upper right-hand corner. Okay, under the microscope, that is how they look like, the one that is located underneath. Okay, the first picture. Okay, so in cluster sila. So Staph aureus commonly colonizes the skin and the nasal passages. So yan ang resident flora ng skin natin and even the nose. Okay, the nasal passages. All right. Now, what are the different diseases that Staphylococcus aureus causes? Okay. Number one, you have the skin and soft tissue infections in the form. Oh, you know this already from your health assessment subject. So you have boils or what do you call this in Tagalog? Pigsa. Okay. Then you have furuncle. So furuncle is the inflammation of a single hair follicle. So folliculitis din yan, pero isa lang siya, furuncle. Okay. Pag multiple follicles ang affected, then it is called as a carbuncle already. So yan yung first picture. And then you have impetigo or Tagalog mamaso. So very characteristic yan. Tingnan nyo yung second picture. The formation of honey-colored crusts. Commonly, that's the typical, what do you call this? Typical impetigo manifestation. Okay? Presentation, rather. So, yung honey-colored crust around the mouth. And then, they are also capable of abscess formation, which is a hallmark feature of Staph aureus, meaning, laging may ganyan. May nana. Okay? And then, so basta kapag kami nakita nyo yung sugat, may nana, staph yan. May Staphylococcus aureus yan. And then, pneumonia also can be caused by Staphylococcus aureus and is often severe and is usually encountered after an influenza infection, yung flu. Okay, so yung influenza virus, so yung secondary bacterial infection niya commonly is Staph aureus which causes pneumonia. Yan ang medyo alarming. Okay, so anong management dito? Since it's a bacteria, antibiotics yan. And then, pag kumalat yung infection, it can cause septicemia and bacteremia wherein the number of microorganisms or bacteria in the blood is increasing. And then it can go down to the heart, causing endocarditis or the inflammation of the endocardium or the inner layer of the heart. And then, pwede yan makapasok through a break in the skin. Let's say na aksidente sa motor, nasugatan, may nakapasok through the wound, the Staphylococcus aureus. It can cause osteomyelitis. Yes, it can affect the bones. Okay? And may nana rin yan. It can go as deep as the bones. And then, these Staphylococcus aureus are also capable of producing toxins. All right, so they have exfoliative toxins and enterotoxins. So these toxins produced by Staph aureus are the ones that are causing the following diseases. So Staph aureus can cause food poisoning. So, characterized by rapid onset vomiting. Ito yung kapag galing sa birthday party, tapos biglang after few hours or within 24 hours, nagsusuka, nagtatae yung pasyente. Okay? So, food poisoning yan. So, kadalasan yung growth niyang Staphylococcus aureus hindi doon sa sauce ng pasta. Doon sa pasta mismo kasi yun yung moist. Okay? So, food poisoning is one. Then we have toxic shock syndrome, characterized by fever, hypotension, a diffuse rash, o ibig sabihin buong katawan, may rashes, and desquamation, nagbabalat. Okay? Then we have scalded skin syndrome or SSS. By the way, though hindi common dito sa atin, hindi masyadong common, no? Pero one of the most common cause of toxic shock syndrome is the use of tampons. Ladies, yung ginagamit natin, sanitary napkin. So meron tayo tinatawag na tampon. So para siya nakarolyo na gasa, ilalagay inside the vaginal canal and then it will absorb the blood para walang nakabakat na napkin. Okay. So, yung tampons na yan, actually, pati yung napkin natin. So, as much as possible, sana susundin natin ito. Do not use, especially the tampons, do not let it stay inside the vaginal canal for more than 6 hours. Okay? Magpapalit na. More than that, pwede na magkaroon ng growth of Staphylococcus aureus. So, which can cause later on, kung laging ginagawa, laging nangyayari, toxic shock syndrome. Excuse me. And then, scalded skin syndrome. Scalded, parang napaso. Okay? Causing blistering and skin peeling in infants. Alright? So, profusion ba na nagbabalat, as in nagbabalat yung baby. Okay? So, that's scalded staphylococcal. Ang buong pangalan niya is staphylococcal scalded skin syndrome, SSSS. Alright? So these are the diseases, the primary diseases caused by Staph aureus. Okay, next are the Streptococcus. Now, kung kanina in clusters, si Staph, si Strep naman in chains or in pairs. Okay, yan, nakikita nyo sa picture in chains. Kapag in pairs, ang tawag sa kanya Diplococcus. Okay, magka-partner. So, unlike Staph pala, Streptococcus are catalase negative. So, they are not capable of producing the enzyme catalase. Okay. So, very characteristic of strep. So, they are classified by hemolysis on blood agar. If you still remember yung blood agar natin, mamaya may picture tayo ulit, papaalala ko yun sa inyo. That's for Group B, strep. Okay, let's start first with the Group A Streptococcus. Group A strep or strep pyogenes or Streptococcus pyogenes, or for some, it is pronounced as pyogenes. Okay, so Group A Streptococcus are beta hemolytic, so they destroy. Mamaya makikita nyo yung picture ulit do sa blood agar natin. So they are beta hemolytic. They are bacitracin sensitive, meaning the antibiotic bacitracin can kill the Group A strep. Another name for Group A strep is Streptococcus pyogenes, ha? Yan yung other name niya. Okay, and they possess the M protein as their virulence factor. So that is how Group A strep are seen under the microscope. Yan, nasa upper left, katabi niyang may batang nakalabas yung tongue. Okay, so they occur in chains. Okay, now what are the diseases that, so minsan makikita nyo sa textbook, GABS, G-A-B-H-S. So ibig sabihin nun, Group A, beta hemolytic streptococcus, GABS. Okay, now what are the diseases caused by your Group A strep? You have pharyngitis or your strep throat. Kaya nga yung strepsils, di ba? Ganun yung pangalan niya. So, ano yan? These are lozenges that are being taken for pharyngitis or strep throat or sore throat. Okay? So, common name, sore throat. So, pharyngitis manifested as sore throat, fever, and pag tiningnan yung tonsils, katatapos lang ng discussion sa HA, you have tonsillar exudates. May nana sa tonsils. Another disease that it can cause is scarlet fever. Okay. So scarlet fever is commonly occurring in children. Okay, presented as a sandpaper-like rash all over the body. Alam niyo sandpaper, yung papel de liha, yan, ganun kanipis, ganun ka-fine. And the pathognomonic sign. Again, when I say pathognomonic, this is the only disease process that wherein you can see that presentation. The presence of a strawberry tongue. Look at the left picture on top, the right picture on top rather. Mapula yung dila, and then yung mga taste buds, okay, elevated. Okay, so parang it looks like a strawberry. The tongue of a patient with scarlet fever looks like a strawberry. Kaya ang tawag sa kanya strawberry tongue. Tapos mapulang-mapula. Hindi pa nga masyadong mapula yung picture na yan eh. So, may pupula pa dyan for scarlet fever. And then, you also have impetigo or mamaso. Yes, pwede pa rin maging cause ng impetigo ang streptococcus. So if you're going to be asked, causative agent for impetigo, so it can either be strep or staph. Okay? Next, erysipelas and cellulitis. So cellulitis is the inflammation of the deeper tissues, okay, or whatever body part yan. Okay, and yan, may picture tayo dyan, erysipelas and versus cellulitis natin. Okay, so erysipelas is more superficial, okay, which involves the upper dermis and the superficial lymphatics. Okay, so yung mga lymph nodes affected. Okay, with more clearly delineated borders compared to cellulitis. So tingnan niyo yung difference. So yung erysipelas, makikita niyo yung gilid niya. Okay? So erythematous lesion yan. So anong difference niya with cellulitis? Again, the border. The border is clearly defined in erysipelas, where in cellulitis, it's widespread. It's also superficial. Okay? But again, tingnan nyo yung border. So, hindi masyadong well-defined yung border, okay, for cellulitis. And then we have necrotizing fasciitis. So, fascia, the outer covering of the muscles. Okay, so, or this is also known as the flesh-eating disease. Okay, so flesh-eating bacteria, si group A streptococcus. So, tingnan nyo yung picture on the right side above the one with impetigo. Okay, so umaabot siya. So, ano ang portal of entry niya is via a break in the skin. So, makapasok siya and then aatakihin niya ngayon yung fascia of the muscles. Marami pa kayong masisearch na grabe yung itsura niyang fasciitis, necrotizing fasciitis. So, search nyo na lang. Yung iba, gangrenous na, nabubulok na. Okay. And then, we have the post-infectious complications. So, from a localized area, streptococcus can now go to distant sites. So, it can reach the heart, causing acute rheumatic fever. Okay, sinisira niya yung valves. It can damage the joints, causing arthritis, polyarthritis. So, ibig sabihin, maraming joints ang affected. And it can reach as far as the kidneys, causing post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis. Okay, so anong presentation sa patient niyan? The patient will have hematuria or the presence of blood in the urine, and since the kidneys are affected, edema is present. Okay, so that's for group A, streptococcus. So let's now go to the next one, the group B, strep. So group B streptococcus or also known as Streptococcus agalactiae. That's how you pronounce that. O ito na yung yung agar, okay, diniscuss ko sa inyo, the blood agar. Okay, so group B streptococcus is beta hemolytic. So ano ang reaction niya? Yung first petri dish. Pag ganyan yung itsura, so ibig sabihin may beta hemolytic streptococcus diyan. Okay, and the group B strep commonly colonizes the gastrointestinal and the genital tract. Okay, diseases, so it can cause, pansinin nyo neonatal, pag sabing neonate, newborn, okay, the first month of life of the baby. Okay, so it can cause neonatal sepsis or generalized infection, neonatal pneumonia, and meningitis in newborns. All right, so those are the three diseases that strep agalactiae can cause. Next, Streptococcus pneumoniae. O, ito na yung mga microorganisms ha. So, know how to pronounce them. Know the spelling, please. Okay? So, tapos na kayo. Expected, pag nakatapos kayo ng micro, alam nyo na to. Alam nyo na yung spelling yan. Alam nyo paano i-pronounce. Okay. Unlike your previous strep, bacteria, Strep pneumoniae is alpha hemolytic. Okay, so balikan ko lang yung alpha hemolysis, so yung nasa gitna. Okay, so that's alpha hemolysis. So meron, hindi lahat kay totally na nasisira, hindi totally nag-hemolyze yung RBC dyan sa agar plate. Okay, so yan yung alpha hemolysis yung gitna. So ganyan na reaction kapag may strep pneumoniae. So they are lancet-shaped diplococci. Look at the picture on the right side. So diplococci sila, dalawang magka-partner na cocci, and they are encapsulated. May capsule. Okay. Now, ano yung mga diseases na that they can cause? Pneumonic, MOPS, MOPS, so that you can easily remember. M for meningitis. Okay. So, Doc, di ba kanina may meningitis na rin? Yes, maraming possible cause of meningitis. And strep pneumonia is one of them. So, meningitis, otitis media or luga, pneumonia, okay, causing productive cough and a rust-colored sputum. So, kaya rusty-colored yan, may konting dugo, may halong dugo. And sinusitis. Okay, so that's strep pneumoniae. Next are the viridans streptococci. Okay, so like strep pneumoniae, they are alpha hemolytic and they are part of our oral normal flora or the normal flora of the mouth. Okay sana eh. Okay, nandyan lang siya. So, pantulong, di ba? Sabi ko sa inyo, pag normal flora, ibig sabihin, these are good bacteria. Kaya lang, in susceptible patients, okay, overgrowth of this viridans streptococci can lead to subacute bacterial endocarditis. Okay? So, umabot siya sa heart. Paano yan? Paano nakakaabot sa puso niyan? So, usually, after the dental procedure, di ba kapag nagbunot ng ipin or may any dental procedure na ginawa, may exposure sa viridans strep. Nasa bibig kasi natin yan, yung viridans streptococcus. Sila din yung cause ng dental caries o yung mga nabubulok na ipin. Okay? Kaya pag may bulok kayong ipin, may viridans streptococci kayo. Okay? So, they are the ones that causes dental caries. Yan, viridans strep. Wala sana kung yan lang, sa ipin lang, di ba? Nakakatakot if it reaches the heart. So it causes endocarditis or the inflammation of the endocardium. All right. Then we have the enterococcus. Okay. So enterococcus naman, so cocci pa rin siya. So enterococcus species, a good example here, you have Enterococcus faecalis and Fecium. Okay, Enterococcus are formerly called as the group D streptococci, pero ngayon tawag na sa kanila Enterococcus. So they are capable of surviving in harsh environments. So kaya sabi dyan, they are hardy organisms. Matindi, matigas ulo. Okay. So, enterococcus can cause urinary tract infections, especially in females. Okay, why? Because our urethra ladies are very near, or is very near, sorry, not are, is very near the anus. Okay? Enterococcus. Pag nakita nyo yung enterococcus, GIT yan, galing sa gastrointestinal tract. What else? It can cause bacteremia. It can also cause endocarditis. And they are very known for or notable for antibiotic resistance, particularly to vancomycin. So, vancomycin-resistant enterococci. So, hindi sila tinatalaban basta-basta ng antibiotic, especially si vancomycin. Resistant sila. Hindi sila tinatalaban. Okay, next. So after the cocci, you have the gram-positive bacilli or the gram-positive rods. So pahaba. Kanina bilog-bilog. So let's start with the spore-forming bacilli. You have two, Bacillus and Clostridium. So for Bacillus, spore-forming, we have Bacillus anthracis. So these are large gram-positive rods that are spore-forming and non-motile. Hindi sila gumagalaw. Look at the picture On the right side, kita niyo yung mga puti-puti, those are spores. Okay, those are bacterial spores. Yeah. So, it causes, so with the name, anthracis, I know na-discuss ko na to earlier during the in the semester. Okay, you have cutaneous anthrax. There are three forms of anthrax. You have cutaneous anthrax, which presents as a painless black eschar. Ano ba eschar? Yung parang langib na sunog, itim na itim, pero hindi masakit. Okay? And then you have the inhalational anthrax, which is the most deadly among the three. They cause severe respiratory distress and mediastinal widening. Okay? So yung mediastinum, nagkakaroon ng spacing there, which kumbaga is a form of accommodating the changes that happens in the lungs for inhalational anthrax. And then we have gastrointestinal anthrax. So a mode of transmission is oral, of course, nakakain na infected ng contaminated food or water or milk. Okay? So this causes abdominal pain and bloody diarrhea. And then we have the next spore forming. We have the Clostridium species. Okay, Clostridium are gram-positive again. They are anaerobic, meaning they hate air. Ayaw nila ng oxygen. Pag in-expose sa oxygen niya, mamamatay. They are spore formings and they are capable of producing potent exotoxins. First example of your Clostridium is Clostridium tetani, causing tetanus. That's the disease process. So, ano yung manifestations ng tetanus? There's muscle rigidity. Okay, yung generalized muscle rigidity, buong katawan, nagsaspasm yan. Locked jaw, or known as trismus, and opisthotonus, or the arching of the back because of muscle contraction. Okay? Ang term natin dyan sa muscle contraction violent muscle contraction. Okay, if you're going to look under the microscope, Clostridium tetani appears as a drumstick. Tingnan nyo yung right side. Okay, lahat yan. Clostridium tetani yan. Okay, so drumstick appearance. So nandun sa dulo yung spore. Okay, yung bilog sa dulo, that's the bacterial spore. Okay? Terminal spores ang tawag pala sa kanila. Terminal spore. So, ito siya si Clostridium. Medyo malabo. Okay? In-enlarge ko kasi. Clostridium, tetanus. So, ayan siya. So, paano bang nakakapasok yan sa atin? Tusok. Okay? Skin penetration. Hindi lang dahil sa rusty nail. Any break in the skin can cause as the portal of entry of Clostridium tetani. Okay? So, ang pinaka-delikado dyan, that's opisthotonus. Yan naka-arch na likod ng pasyente. Okay, yan na dyan, yung tao. Yan, that's opisthotonus. Arching of the back and look at the toes, okay, curling. So, there's generalized muscle contraction here. Ang pinaka-deadly sa Clostridium tetani is once mag-contract at mapagod na yung diaphragm. Okay, so pag yung diaphragm ang nag-contract ng matindi and then later on as a adaptive mechanism, mag-stop na siya ng pag-contract, hindi na makakahinga yung tao. Okay? So, yan ang medyo delikado talaga dyan. Okay, so that's Clostridium tetani. Okay, another Clostridium is Clostridium botulinum, causing botulism or food poisoning. So, saan galing si Clostridium? Commonly, we can get Clostridium botulinum from improperly home-canned foods. Okay? Yung mga nilalata, kaya titingnan ninyo sa grocery, pag bibili kayo ng canned goods, wag yung nakayupe, wag yung may kalawang. Pag may kalawang na yung stock ninyo dyan sa bahay, parang awan nyo na, itapon nyo na. Please inform your parents, okay? Huwag nang manghinayang kasi kapag nagkasakit tayo, mas malaki ang gasto sa ospital. Magkano lang yung canned good na yon? 50 pesos. Wag nang paghinayangan, tapon. Okay? So improperly home canned foods, fermented items like kimchi, pwede yan, pwede makontaminate yan. And sometimes improperly stored refrigerated foods, yung mga laging nakatambak sa ref. Okay? So, kailangan uubusin yung food as much as possible. Mabuti kung may dogs kayo or may cats, pwedeng ipakain sa kanila yan. Bago mapanis, ha? Uulitin ko, huwag niyong papakainin yung mga alaga ninyo ng panis na pagkain. That's the common practice before, eh. Di ba? Oh, ito mapapanis na pakain na sa aso. No. No, no. Okay? Magkakasakit sila. Alright? So, kung hindi nyo rin lang kakainin, itatambak nyo lang sa ref, please, ipakain nyo na agad sa mga alaga nyo. Huwag manghinayang. Bakit? Buhay din sila. Buhay yung mga dogs and cats natin. So, they deserve to be fed with clean food. Okay? Mga dogs ko, never yan. Never kakain yan ng mga panis. Kahit kanin, pag napanis na tapon na talaga yan. So, bagong luto lagi yung rice, bagong luto ang food nila. Even the dog food, make sure na tama, and cat food, tama ang storage, ha, para hindi ma-contaminate yan. So, kawawa sila pag nagkasakit at magastos din talaga. Okay. Next. So, going back to botulism or food poisoning din. So, it can cause flaccid paralysis. Okay, when say flaccid, di ba may paralysis na contracted yung muscles. Ito hindi flaccid. Lanta, parang ganun, malambot. Ayan, flaccid paralysis. Kanina, sa tetanus, that's spastic. Okay? So what else? Blurring of vision, ptosis, or drooping of the eyelids. You know this already. And descending paralysis. So you say descending paralysis pababa hanggang sa umabot sa lower X. So what happens? The botulinum toxin, actually that's Botox. Okay, so pinaprocess nila yan yung ginagamit na, yung toxin produced by Clostridium botulinum yung ginagamit sa derma, yung Botox. Pero syempre, inaayos nila yan. Okay, so this Botox or botulinum toxin binds to the neuronal membranes or the neurons, preventing the release of acetylcholine anatomy, okay, at the neuromuscular junction. Acetylcholine, once nag-bind yan sa receptors on the muscles, it causes muscular contraction. Okay? So, botulinum toxin. Yung toxin niya ng Clostridium botulinum binds or competes with acetylcholine on the binding site. So, therefore, hindi magko-contract yung muscles, causing paralysis. Hindi magagalaw yung muscle group na yan. So, pababa. Okay? When say pababa, kasi galing yan sa taas ingestion yan kaya tayo nagkaroon ng infection, so hanggang makaabot yan sa lower extremities natin. Okay? So that's Clostridium botulinum. Next is Clostridium perfringens. This is caused gas gangrene or myonecrosis. Kanina, fasciitis. Ito, diretso sa muscles. Again, the portal of entry is a break in the skin. Pag pinatagal nyo yan, pwede yung umabot sa buto. It can also cause osteomyelitis. Okay? So, it manifested by severe muscular pain, as in sobrang sakit. Okay? Tissue, followed by tissue necrosis. Look at the black portion there. That's necrotic. That's a necrotic area, and gas production in tissue. So look at that. Parang may mga small bubbles. Okay, kaya gas gangrene. So pag sabing gangrene, gangrenous na, patay na yung cells na yan. Doc, can it lead to amputation? Yes, definitely yes. Okay, so bulok na Okay, so unless maagang ma-detect, kayanin pa ng antibiotics, then we can still salvage the affected leg, affected hand. So pwede yan sa leg or sa hand, anywhere in the body na pwede siyang pumasok. Okay, so that's Clostridium perfringens. Another, ang dami nila, magkakamag-anak. Sorry, Clostridium difficile, causing pseudomembranous colitis. Pseudo means false. False membrane. Colitis is inflammation of the colonic wall. Tingnan nyo yung picture dyan sa baba. Okay. That pseudomembrane is the color yellow there sa picture dyan sa baba. Bituka, that's an endoscopic picture of a patient with pseudomembranous colitis. And pinaka-notorious na antibiotic. Usually, this pseudomembranous colitis is an antibiotic-mediated infection. Pag sabing baligtad, no? Antibiotic dapat pampatay ng organism. Hindi eh. Siya yung nagkukos. Clindamycin. Marami pang pwede, pero pinaka-notorious is clindamycin. Why? Clindamycin kills the normal flora of the GIT. Okay? Causing now an overgrowth of Clostridium difficile. Si Clostridium difficile hindi namamatay. So, resistant siya kay Clinda. Yung ibang bantay, ibang normal flora, patay. Okay, with clindamycin, siya hindi. So, dadami. Kuha? So, the disease is pseudomembranous colitis, cause antibiotic intake, particularly clindamycin. So, what happens is that there will be an overgrowth of Clostridium difficile because of the destruction and the death of the normal flora of the GIT. Manifestation, profuse watery diarrhea, and kapag may diarrhea, ang pinaka-alarming na pwedeng mangyari as a complication sa patients natin is dehydration. Okay, so pwedeng ma-dehydrate dahil tain ng tae yung pasyente. There's abdominal cramping and fever as well. So infection yan. So yung kulay dilaw-dilaw dyan, patches, yan yung pseudomembrane. Pag binakbak yan, dudugo yan. Alright? So that's Clostridium difficile. Then let's now go to the bacilli. Okay, the rod-shaped organisms natin. Let's start with the non-spore forming muna. So we have Corynebacterium, that's how you pronounce, Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Okay, so these are club-shaped rods. Look at the picture on top. So they contain also metachromatic granules. Kaya look at the cell, okay, the bacterial cell there, hindi siya makinis. May mga dots yan. Mukhang rough yung itsura. Those are the metachromatic granules. Disease caused, diphtheria. Kung may pseudomembrane kanina sa colitis natin, dito meron din tayo sa diphtheria. Okay. So, Corynebacterium diphtheriae causes a gray pseudomembrane in the throat. Like what you can see in the picture. Yan yung pseudomembrane. Huwag niyong babakbakin yan, dudugo. Look at the surrounding. Hyperemic, mapula. Okay? So, aside from the pseudomembrane or the false membrane, you can have the patient will manifest with sore throat. Yan ang initial, actually, sore throat. Makati, akala lang, simpleng pharyngitis lang. Yung pala, may Corynebacterium na. Okay? So, fever, myocarditis, and neuropathy. So, it can go as far as the heart and it can even affect the nerve endings. So, it can cause neuropathy. It damages the nerve endings. Okay? So, ano ang problema natin dito? That pseudomembrane can block the pharynx. So, it can cause difficulty in breathing, difficulty in swallowing. Paano tayong makakakuha ng sample dyan? Swabbing. Isa-swab yan hanggang dyan sa throat. Okay? So, the disease is called as diphtheria. Nandyan din naman sa name, Corynebacterium diphtheriae. Okay? Next is Listeria monocytogenes. Okay, o monocytogenes. May narinig ako, monocytogenes. Okay, so these are intracellular organisms, meaning they have to penetrate the inside of the cell in order for them to survive. Okay, it has a tumbling motility. So tumbling, hindi siya swimming. Mamaya may swarming pa. So tumbling, paikot-ikot. Okay, yun ang movement na nakita dito kay Listeria. So Listeria monocytogenes can cause meningitis in neonates. Yung mga newborns natin. Okay? And the elderly, the very young and the very old. common cause of meningitis. It can also cause sepsis in pregnancy or during pregnancy, which may lead to miscarriage, nakukunan, and stillbirth. Yung stillbirth, namatay yung baby inside the mother's womb, pagkapanganak, patay na siya. That's stillbirth. Okay? So, listeria yan. So, I think in the States, meron kasama yan sa prenatal nila. Okay? Prenatal check-up. So, determination to may presence of listeria. Kasama yan sa panel of tests na ginagawa, okay, for pregnant women. Sa atin, hindi yan mandatory. Okay? All right. So, summary for nursing practice regarding gram-positive bacteria. So, they are able to cause a wide spectrum of diseases from GIT, from the integumentary to nervous system, di ba? Pansin niyo ba yun? So, they are capable of causing wide spectrum of diseases. Okay? To, again, from mild skin infection, like impetigo, to life-threatening systemic illness. So the recognition of key manifestation aids in the early diagnosis and intervention and prompt treatment. Okay. Infection control, vaccination, antimicrobial stewardship are critical in preventing complications. Remember, meron tayong bakuna na DPT, diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus. So dapat protected tayo dyan. Okay, kasama yan sa expanded program on immunization natin na nakaschedule sa mga babies. Alright? So, that is for the gram-positive organisms. Now, I have provided a table. Ayan ha, isang tinginan. Makikita na ninyo yung review. You can have this printed if you like. Kasama yata ito doon sa Hindi, tama. I-convert ko siya sa PDF para you can have it printed. Okay. So, reviewer yan. Yan lahat yung diniscuss natin kanina. Okay? So, dyan na probably bago sa pandinig nyo yung viridans streptococcus yan. Nasa ipin yan. Nasa ipin natin. So, delikado na may bulok na ipin. Ha? Kasi, again, it can cause endocarditis. Okay? Ito pa. So, Clostridium tetani, yung pamilya ni Clostridium is here. And they have the Corynebacterium and Listeria. Okay, so we're done with the gram-positive organisms. Okay, so let's have a quick break lang. Okay, before we start the gram-negative organisms. Quick break lang, water break. Okay, 5 minutes. All right, let's continue. Okay. So we'll have the gram-negative naman. So we're done with the gram-positive organisms. So let's discuss the general characteristics, okay, seen in gram-negative bacteria. So they are these gram-negs, mas marami sila kaysa sa gram-positive. So they are a large and clinically significant group of microorganisms that are characterized by a thin peptidoglycan layer compared to your gram-positive organisms, and the presence of an outer membrane that contains the lipopolysaccharide or the LPS layer. So during gram staining, they do not retain the crystal violet, which is the primary stain, but instead, they retain the counter stain, saffronin, kulay red. So that's why they appear red after gram staining, the gram staining procedure. Okay. Gram-negative bacteria, because of the presence of the LPS, are capable of producing a toxin, okay? So yung your endotoxins that are produced by the lipopolysaccharide layer in gram-negative bacteria. So making these gram-negative infections particularly dangerous, which often leads to sepsis, shock, and multi-organ failure. So, mas medyo delikado kapag gram-negative yung infectious organism natin. General characteristics, again, they have a thin peptidoglycan cell wall. They contain an LPS layer. The specific endotoxin that they have is lipid A, which causes fever, hypotension, and shock. Okay, there are also the presence of porine channels, which regulates the entry of substances and are often resistant to multiple antibiotics. So, ito yung mahirap. Okay, yung antibiotic resistance. So, mahirap silang patayin. So, mahirap gamutin yung mga sakit that they cause. Okay, they are classified based on their shape. So, they can either be a cocci, a Coccobacilli. So, we say Coccobacilli, parang you can compare it to, oblong, an oblong. Okay? So, hindi mo alam kung pabilog siya or pahababa. So, a Coccobacilli and bacilli. Okay? They can also be classified based on their oxygen requirements, lactose fermentation, and their growth requirements. Okay, and these are the gram negs. Okay, so let's start with the Neisseria species. So you have the first one there, Neisseria meningitidis. That's how you pronounce that. So Neisseria meningitidis, nabulol pa, okay, is a diplococci. As you can see there, yung pictures that I am posting are the actual photomicrograph of this organism seen under the microscope. So para kahit hindi natin sila nasilip, ganyan yung itsura nila. Okay, they are encapsulated, as you can see, para silang may covering, they are enclosed in a capsule and they ferment maltose and glucose. So gustong-gusto nila yan, yung maltose and glucose. If you remember, biochemistry, carbohydrates. Okay. What are the diseases that Neisseria meningitidis causes? So it causes meningococcal meningitis, which presents with fever, severe headache, adult na ito, okay, and neck stiffness. Okay, nuchal rigidity ang tawag siya sa mga textbook. Meningococcemia. Pag sinabing emia, nasa blood pa lang siya, hindi pa siya umabot sa brain. Yung meningitis, umabot na sa brain. Okay, and nagkaroon na ng meningeal inflammation. Okay, if you still remember the meninges natin. Okay, then the pia, the dura, okay, and the arachnoid matter, remember the meninges, so yan, nag-i-inflame yan. Pag sinabing meningococcemia, the microorganism is still in the blood. So there is an increasing number of Neisseria meningitidis in the blood, causing petechial or purpuric rash, hypotension, bumabagsak ang BP, and shock. Okay? It can also cause Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome or presented with adrenal hemorrhage. So it's the adrenal glands that are affected. Nagkakaroon ng bleeding sa adrenal glands. Then next, the more popular than Neisseria meningitidis is Neisseria gonorrhoeae or gonorrhea. So it's a gram-negative, again, diplococci, non-encapsulated for this organism. Kanina, sa meningitidis, encapsulated. So tingnan nyo yung difference nila. Okay? So wala siyang capsule. Okay? So pero pareho silang diplococci. So they are non-encapsulated and ferments glucose only. Unlike kanina, pati maltose. Okay? So the disease, actually isa lang, hindi rin, depende pala yan, kay complications ng iba. So the disease that it causes, nasa name niya, is gonorrhea. In Tagalog, it is known as tulo. Okay? So gonorrhea is a sexually transmitted infection. Hindi kayo magkaka-gonorrhea pag walang sexual intercourse. Okay? So it causes urethritis or inflammation of the urethra, cervicitis, and dysuria, painful urination, particularly mas evident sa male. Why? Iisa ang passageway ng urine ninyo boys at saka ng semen. Okay? So, ladies, magkakadysuria din tayo. So, para siyang presentation niya, kala mo may UTI lang. Yung pala may gonorrhea na. Okay? Mas dramatic ang presentation kasi sa boys, sa lalaki, compared sa ladies. Okay? So, tingnan niyo yung pictures on the right side, the one that is seen there sa taas, that's the cervix. Okay, the cervix of a patient with gonorrhea. So, babae yan ha. Pag cervix, babae. So, ayan siya. So, may nana din. Okay? Tingnan ninyo. May pus din yan. So, in males, yung second picture, that's the penis. Walang mali siya. Kasama sa lecture natin yan. So, ang gagawin yan, so kukuha ng sample, you get a cotton applicator, a sterile cotton applicator, kukuha ng magsuswab dyan, kuha ng konting sample, and that sample will be sent to the laboratory for culture, and then gram staining. So pag nakita na si gonorrhea, then that's tulo. Actually, kahit wala na makita nyo pa lang na ganyan, that's really tulo. Now, as a complication of gonorrhea, the infected person can develop pelvic inflammatory disease. So it can go up to the reproductive system, can later on cause infertility. Nagkakadikit-dikit because of severe inflammation in the area, nagkakadikit-dikit na yung wall ng fallopian tube sa females, namamaga ang uterine wall, so hindi makakapit yung fertilized egg. Okay, so hindi makabuo ng baby. Pelvic inflammatory disease, same with the males. Okay, and then so just in case nakabuo, okay, nabuntis yung female and the mother is positive for gonorrhea and hindi niya sinabi, hindi na-detect agad. Okay, the baby was born vaginally, so normal spontaneous delivery, dumaan sa puwerta. Just imagine, dadaan ng baby dyan sa itsura ng cervix na yan na nandyan sa taas. Sasagapin niya yung nana that contains Neisseria gonorrhea. And the common presentation for the delivery of the baby is cephalic, una ulo. So mapupunta sa mata, causing neonatal conjunctivitis, parang sore eyes conjunctivitis, and that is called as ophthalmia neonatorum. Ophthalmia neonatorum is due to the presence of Neisseria gonorrhea in the vaginal tract of the female during delivery. Okay? Kaya naman, it's universally accepted, no, kasama sa immediate newborn care, na naglalagay ng ophthalmic antibiotics sa newborns. Why? Okay, bakit tayo naglalagay ng antibiotic? Wala naman po akong tulo, sabihin ng nanay. Wala po akong gonorrhea. Okay, as a prophylactic measure. Bakit? Kasi usually, gonorrhea in female is hindi ganyan ka-dramatic katulad sa males. Sometimes walang evident na pus. Akala mo lang whitish discharge lang. Hindi niya napansin na medyo may amoy na. So, pero akala niya, discharge lang. Okay? So, to be safe, for the baby to be safe, lahat ng nanay na manganganak, lalagyan yung baby ng ophthalmic antibiotic as part of the immediate newborn care to prevent ophthalmia neonatorum. Huwag niyong kalimutan yan ha. Ambag ko yan sa OB ninyo next semester para pag tinanong kayo ng lecturer ninyo sa OB, makakasagot kayo ha. Neisseria gonorrhea. Okay? So, kadalasan nilagay terramycin, yan, ophthalmic. Kayo maglalagay niyan. Next semester, magjo-duty na kayo maglalagay niyan sa newborns. And what else? It can also cause septic arthritis. So it can even invade or destroy the joints, causing inflammation called as arthritis. Okay, then we have the gram-negative bacilli, Enterobacteriaceae. Pag entero, sa GIT. So general characteristics of these Enterobacteriaceae are the following. Okay, so they are facultative anaerobes. They are oxidase negative, so they are not capable of producing the enzyme oxidase. They are found mainly in the gastrointestinal tract. Basta pag nakita nyo yung entero, GIT yan. First and foremost, pinakabida, pinaka-popular, and the most abundant normal flora of the GIT is the Escherichia coli. yung inaral natin na bacterial cell during the discussion on bacterial morphology, it's E. coli. Ito yon. Okay, so under the microscope, it looks like that sa taas. So yung nasa baba, photomicrograph yan, scanning microscope yan, magnified several times, ganyan itsura. Okay, so E. coli is a lactose fermenter. Gustong-gusto niya yung lactose niyan sa GIT and is part of the normal gut or the GIT flora, digestive system or the GI tract flora natin, normal flora. Although, anong sinabi ko sa inyo, pag normal flora, pag nandun sila sa lugar nila, nandun sila sa teritoryo nila, hindi sila magkakos ng disease. Walang problema. But if they go out of their location, doon sila naghahasik ng lagim. Doon sila capable of producing an infection. If they reach the urinary tract, okay, this is the most common cause of UTI. Okay, urinary tract infection due to E. coli. Ang lapit, lalo na sa ladies, ang lapit ng anus natin, ladies, sa urethra. So, pwedeng, pag mali ang pag-wash natin, let's say, nagpupo ka, and then nag-wash ka ng anus, tapos yung fingers mo na ginamit doon, pinang-wash mo sa vagina, then pwede ka mag-develop ng E. coli. Alright? So, yung during sexual intercourse as well, pwede yan. There can be mixing of normal flora, maligaw yan sa urethral orifice, pwede mag-develop ng E. coli. So, between male and female, mas madalas mag-develop ng UTI because of E. coli ang females. Why? Because of the proximity of the urethra to the anus plus the length of the urethra. Maikli lang yung urethra natin, ladies, compared to the males. Okay? Yung males, malayo sa anus, plus mahaba yung urethra. So, hindi basta-basta makakaakyat sa bladder yung E. coli. Okay? Again, walang mali siya. Okay, for those who are practicing anal sex, pwede yan. So, pwede for boys, okay? So, pwedeng mapunta yan sa pototoy. Okay? It can also cause one of the ways on how E. coli can enter your urinary tract. Okay? What else? It can also cause neonatal meningitis, diarrheal diseases, yung mga nagtatae. There are two types of diarrheal disease that it can cause. You have ETEC and EHEC. Okay, ETEC is enterotoxigenic E. coli. Entero sa GIT. So it causes watery diarrhea or what you call as traveler's diarrhea. Ito po, yung kapag napunta kayo sa ibang lugar, uminom kayo ng tubig at nagtae. Okay? Kasi hindi nyo alam kung saan yung water source. Alright? So inom lang kayo ng inom, lalo na yung mga nagha-hike. Yan. So that's ETEC, enterotoxigenic E. coli. The other one is EHEC, enterohemorrhagic E. coli. So it causes bloody diarrhea. So may blood. And pag pag dumami at hindi agad nagamot, it can cause hemolytic uremic syndrome. Okay? So that's ETEC and EHEC. So both are manifested as diarrhea. So again, like what I have said earlier, pag may diarrhea, prone to dehydration, yun ang nakakamatay. So, dapat mahabol natin yung water and electrolyte loss. Next rod is Klebsiella pneumoniae. Okay? Klebsiella, that's how you pronounce that. Okay, Klebsiella is encapsulated and a lactose fermented as well, just like E. coli, and it causes pneumonia. Nandun nga sa pangalan, pneumoniae. So, it causes pneumonia. Very characteristic ito. Pag nakita nyo ito sa exam matik to, dapat ang iisipin nyo Klebsiella. Okay? It produces yung type of pneumonia na, the usual pneumonia, ang sputum, madilaw, kulay berde. Ito hindi. Okay? So, pneumonia or sputum found in patients with pneumonia caused by Klebsiella pneumoniae is characterized as thick current jelly sputum. Tingnan nyo yung picture. Okay? A thick curant jelly sputum. Yung curant jelly, parang pampalaman yan. Sige, para mas familiar kayo, yung strawberry jam, parang ganyan. Okay? Ganyan yung kulay. Red curant jelly sputum. Sabihin, malagkit-lagkit. Very thick. Alright? And, tingnan niyo yung, yung Petri dish on the right side. Yung kanyang culture, ganyan yung itsura. Ang ganda mamaya, may ibang itsura, kulay blue naman mamaya. Okay? So, it causes thick mucoid colonies. If you notice, yung colonies niya, hindi siya hiwa-hiwalay na makikita ninyo yung rods. Siya hindi, parang siya, balot na balot, parang mucus, parang plema, ganun na itsura niya. So, and may capsule, encapsulated si Klebsiella. So, ganyan yung appearance niya. And again, pag dumahak yung pasyente, ganyan din yung itsura. Appears as red currant jelly. Okay, that's the characteristic sputum found in Klebsiella pneumoniae infection. It can also cause UTI and sepsis, generalized infection, and common in alcoholics and hospitalized patients. Why alcoholic? Ang daming lactose niyan. Sugar yan eh, yung alcohol. Okay, yung lalo na yung beer. So, maraming pagkain. So, pwede siyang dumami. Alright, so that's Klebsiella pneumoniae. Next is Proteus mirabilis. Kanina swarm, kanina ano yung tumbling motion. This time, si Proteus, tingnan ninyo, ang ganda ng culture niya, ganyan ang itsura. It has a swarming motility. Paikot. Okay, ang ganda. So, it is a non-lactose fermenter and again, has a swarming motility giving the culture media that appearance. Tingnan nyo yun nasa right side. So, dalawa yung presentation na pwede niyang gawin. Pwedeng may swirl sa taas or tingnan nyo parang may mga branches yung isang Petri dish. Okay, pag nakita ng ganyan niya, Proteus to. Ganun, galaw niya kasi yan. So, it leaves a mark on the Petri dish. Under the microscope, that is how Proteus mirabilis looks like. Rods, so pahaba. Diseases that it can also cause UTI, second most common cause of UTI after E. coli. So therefore, kasama siya sa normal flora ng GIT. And Proteus mirabilis can cause formation of struvite kidney stones. Okay? So si Proteus, pinapataas niya yung alkalinity. Okay? Alkalinity ng what do you call this, ng environment kung nasaan siya. Pag napunta siya sa urinary tract, it can cause kidney stones. Okay? Struvite kidney stones. So, pwedeng mag-cause ng bato. Okay? So, ano tawag nito? Urolithiasis. Pag nakita nyo yung lith, kidney stones yan. Okay? So, that's Proteus mirabilis. Next, yeah, ito yung maganda. Sabi ko sa inyo kanina, iba kulay di ba? So, ngayon, meron na namang iba. Pseudomonas aeruginosa, very characteristic of Pseudomonas is this one. Okay, it produces a blue-green pigment caused by pyocyanin that is produced by the organism. Tingnan nyo sa taas, pakitingin, look at the right side of your screen. Di ba may mga bilog-bilog na puti? Antibiotic yan. Yan yung ginagawang culture and sensitivity. So tingnan niyo yung clear, I don't know if you can see my my cursor. Yan lang. Okay. So, under ko lang. Ching, ching, ching. Ayan. Kita niyo yung mga puti na yan na tinuturo ng cursor ko. Those are antibiotic tablets. Okay. And can you see the halo around? Okay. So, yung halo na yan means there's a clearing zone. So, ibig sabihin, lahat ng bakterya na nandyan, paligid niyang antibiotic na yan, kung ano man yan, namatay. Tingnan niyo yung iba, ito wala. Diba? Ito wala. Yan. So, ibig sabihin, resistant si Pseudomonas dyan sa antibiotic na yan, kung ano man yan. Ito pwede. Okay, so ito pwede, kahit paano merong clearing, ito medyo-medyo. Okay, so anong importance niyan? Yan yung sinasabi na for culture and sensitivity. So you culture the specimen, pararamihin mo yung organism, and then maglalagay ka ng antibiotic. Okay? So kung ano yung antibiotic na may pinakamalaking clearing or halo na makikita, that's the antibiotic of choice. Ibig sabihin, yan ang makakapatay kay Pseudomonas. Tingnan nyo, out of ilan niya? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 na antibiotics. Isa lang siya na may clearing na maganda. Ito medyo diffuse pa eh. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, siya yun. Siya na yun. Siya na yung antibiotic para kay Pseudomonas. So, what can we derive out of this? Pseudomonas is hard to kill. Okay? Nakakatakot magkaroon ng Pseudomonas infection. So, it's an obligate aerobe. So, when say obligate aerobe, kailangan ng hangin. It produces, again, a blue-green pigment. So, kaya that's what happened sa culture niya. And it has a fruity odor. Pwede yang maging cause ng pneumonia. So ventilator associated pneumonia, those patients in the ICU that are hooked in a ventilator, yung machine na humihinga para sa pasyente, yan, kapag hindi properly cleaned yung mga tubes na ginamit. Responsibility ng respiratory therapist yan. Burn patients, okay? Yung mga nasunog, natanggal ang skin, natanggal ang primary barrier ng katawan natin, pwede, lalo na dirty wound yan. So pag may mga soilage dyan, contamination ng wound, pwedeng yung burned area, open, moist, pwedeng madapuan yan, pwedeng malagyan or may contaminate ng anything that contains Pseudomonas. So pwedeng yung lupa kung saan siya bumagsak. Okay? So, dyan sa burn wound na yan, makikita ninyo ang discharge hindi kulay dilaw, kulay blue-green. Pag nakita nyo na yan, Pseudomonas. Kapag nakita ninyo sa chart na may pneumonia yung patient and Pseudomonas yung cause, double mask. Please, double mask. Okay? And if you do suction your patient, mag-gloves. Never touch your patient without gloves. Alright? So, mag-double mask. If you can wear kung may goggles, then mag-goggles. Pero double mask will do. Make sure nakatakip ang ilong. Okay? And for burn patients, pag nakita nyo may kulay blue na discharge galing doon sa burn wound, mag-gloves. Okay? Pag nililinis nyo, hinahawakan nyo yung pasyente. It can also cause UTI, it can also cause sepsis, and otitis externa. Okay? May otitis media, yung luga. Ano yung otitis externa? Sa labas lang. Diyan, sa nahahawakan ninyo. Okay? Diyan sa may ear canal. So, madalas yan, kunyari, kung ano-anong pinasusundot dyan sa tenga, pangkamot ng tenga, pangtanggal ng earwax, or nakalagay dyan swimmer's ear, di ba? Laging basa yung tenga ng mga swimmers kasi babad sa tubig, lalambot yung skin. So, pwedeng doon sa tubig, may microorganism. Or galing sa kamay, ihawak sa tenga na may Pseudomonas. So, pwede yan. It can cause otitis externa. Okay? So, ang otitis is inflammation. So, pag media, middle ear. Pag externa, external ear. Okay? So, yan. Again, bluish, blue-green pigment, automatic, Pseudomonas infection. Next, Vibrio cholera. So, very characteristic for Vibrio cholera, comma shape. Para siyang comma, C-O-M-M-A. Ayan, may arrow dyan sa side. Okay, it's a comma-shaped rod, a curved comma-shaped rod, and it grows in alkaline environment, yung mababang pH. So, kung gusto niya sa mababang pH, paano siya mamamatay? Pataasin yung pH ng kung saan nandun siya. Okay, sa GIT. Okay, commonly sa GIT yan. So, it causes cholera, kaya nga Vibrio cholera. So, cholera, characterized by profuse watery diarrhea or what we call as rice water stool or hugas bigas. Alam niyo, nagsasaing naman kayo siguro, no, yung itsura ng ganung kaputi. At talagang malabnaw. Talagang parang umiihi. Okay? So again, pag may diarrhea, ang problema natin, dehydration. So complications, severe dehydration, and electrolyte imbalance. And this is enough to kill the patient. Luckily, maganda na yung mga water sewerage system natin. So, yung incidences ng cholera, bumaba na. Okay? Fecal-oral route yan. So, nakainom kayo ng contaminated water. Then, Campylobacter jejunum. So, alam niyo na kung saan siya naninirahan. So, it's a curved rod, like what you can see in the picture. It has a single flagella, monotrichus. Okay? And it's microaerophilic. Kailangan, pwede siyang may oxygen, pero konting-konti, or else mamamatay siya. Okay. So diseases and manifestations, it causes gastroenteritis, inflammation of the wall of the GIT, causing bloody diarrhea and abdominal pain. So spastic, masakit din siya ng pasyente. And it has been found out that infection with Campylobacter jejuni can lead to a neuromuscular disorder called as Guillain-Barré syndrome. Okay? So, ito naman, ascending paralysis. Napaparalyze yung pasyente pataas. Okay? Until such time na pati yung respiratory muscles are paralyzed already. So, nakakamatay. Okay? Yung Guillain-Barré. So, that's one of the, maalala nyo sana yan, pagdating nyo sa neuro, pagdating sa 4th year ninyo. Okay? Campylobacter jejuni. Helicobacter pylori, H. pylori, spiral shape, so para siyang spirochete pero hindi. Okay? Spiral shape organism and urease positive. Okay, so urease is an enzyme that increases the alkalinity of the environment. Okay? So pag napunta yan sa GIT, sa urinary tract, it can cause UTI also. Okay? So pakitandaan po ito. Pakitandaan, Helicobacter pylori is the most common bacterial cause of ulcer. Kasi yung ulcers, yung sugat sa stomach or sa duodenum, pwedeng maging maraming possible causes yan. And the most common bacterial cause is H. pylori, Helicobacter pylori. So si Helicobacter pylori destroys the gastric mucosa. Sinusugatan niya yung gastric mucosa, exposing the gastric mucosa to the acidic environment in the stomach, causing chronic gastritis, namamaga yung stomach wall. And then later on, nagsusugat na yan. So, lahat naman nagsistart yan as chronic gastritis. Namamaga lang pag gastritis, inflamed. And then katagalan yan, pag hindi nagamot yan, magiging ulcer. Okay? Hindi lahat na mahapdi ang tiyan ulcer agad. It can be gastritis muna. Then you have peptic ulcer disease and then later on, capable. Si Helicobacter pylori, ganun siya katindi, no, na pagsugat niya sa tiyan of creating or causing gastric cancer. Ulcer lang naging cancer. Okay, so pwede yan. Okay? If it's due to Helicobacter pylori. Okay, next. So you have the gram-negative Coccobacilli naman. So ito yung sabi ko kaninang Coccobacilli. Hindi mo alam kung coccus o bacilli. Okay, pa-oblong. So they are short, round rods and they vary in shape or in size. So, yun ang ibig sabihin ng pleomorphic. So they vary in shape and size and they are gram-negative. Diseases that the Haemophilus influenza, ay iba to sa flu iba yung flu, virus yun. So, Haemophilus influenza can cause meningitis in children. Kanina, neonate. Ngayon, children. Okay? Epiglottitis. So, namamaga yung epiglottis, causing drooling and later on respiratory distress in children. It can also cause otitis media, luga, and sinusitis. Okay? May bakuna naman tayo dyan. So, yung bata tayo, may bakuna yan. Yung HIV, okay? Yung HIV, tanong nyo sa mami ninyo, tignan nyo yung baby book ninyo, may HIV. Pag may HIV, yan yun. Bakuna for Haemophilus influenza. Type B. Okay, type B. Maraming types to pero pinaka-popular is type B. Alright, next is Bordetella pertussis. We also have a vaccine for this one. Di kasama ni DPT. Yung P is for pertussis. Okay? So that's against Bordetella pertussis. It's a Coccobacillus which produces the pertussis toxin. Okay? It causes whooping cough, pertussis. Okay, yung disease is pertussis manifested as whooping cough. Ano yung whooping cough? Paroxysmal coughing ending in an inspiratory whoop. Whoop. Okay? Pag sinabing paroxysmal coughing, yung ubo ng ubo, yung walang tigil yung ubo, tingnan nyo yung bata. Okay? Successive coughing. Okay? So, ang ending niyan may woof, kaya sabi parang tahol aso, parang ganon. So, may whoop sa dulo, and pagkatapos umubo, nagsusuka. That's what you mean by post-tussive coughing. Ay, vomiting pala, sorry. Post-tussive vomiting. Kakaubo ng kakaubo, nasusuka na. And luckily, like what I have said, may bakuna tayo dyan. Okay? So that's Bordetella pertussis. All right, the last portion of our discussion are the different sexually transmitted diseases. First is chlamydia trachomatis. Okay, chlamydia is, that's how you pronounce trachomatis. Chlamydia trachomatis is an obligate intracellular bacteria. Dapat nasa loob siya ng cell. Okay? It lacks the classic peptidoglycan layer. So, gram-neg din siya. So, wala siyang peptidoglycan layer. Alright. So, it can cause urethritis or inflammation of the urethra, inflammation of the cervix, cervicitis. Then, later on, parang gonorrhea, pag umakyat yan, it can cause pelvic inflammatory disease, and it also can cause neonatal conjunctivitis, but not as severe as that of gonorrhea. Actually, ito ang kapartner ni gonorrhea. Okay? Kapag may gonorrhea, kadalasan may chlamydia eh. So, chlamydiasis. Yung infection is called as chlamydiasis. Okay? So, minsan, asymptomatic to. So, hindi natin alam, lalo na sa ladies, sa female, na may chlamydial infection. So, incidentally, makikita lang yan pag nagpa-pap smear. So, mag-check kung anong meron dyan sa vaginal canal. Right? Chlamydia trachomatis. So, there's this artista before, sabi niya, hinawakan daw siya ng dati niyang boyfriend na artista rin ng chlamydia. So, sabi ko nga, baka hindi chlamydia, nahihiya lang eh. Kasi chlamydia, hindi masyadong popular, di ba? Baka nga ngayon nyo lang narinig yan eh. So, hindi siya masyadong popular compared to gonorrhea. Kaya, pag instead na sabihin gonorrhea or tulo, chlamydia na lang kasi at least hindi kilala. Okay? But this is still a sexually transmitted infection. Hindi ka magkakaroon ng chlamydia kung wala kang sexual intercourse. Same with syphilis. Okay? Treponema pallidum, another sexually transmitted infection that is spiral shape. This is a spirochete naman. Hindi na siya, that's the third shape, diba, of your bacteria. So, a spiral shape, motile, moving, okay, gram-negative bacteria. It causes syphilis. The disease caused is syphilis. This is transmitted, ay nabura yung T, transmitted primarily through sexual contact. These are the only two ways kung paano nyo makukuha yung infection para magkaroon kayo ng syphilis. Sexual contact, or pagbuntis yung nanay, matatransfer niya from mother to fetus. So the baby will be born with syphilis already. Okay? Again, if you remember microscope, ang type of microscope na ginagamit sa kanya para ma-visualize si Treponema pallidum is dark field microscopy. Kaya ganyan yung itsura. Okay? So the organism will appear light against a dark background. So bakit? Masyado siyang manipis. Hindi siya makita using a bright field microscope. Okay? So it is thin, helical, and corkscrew shaped. Mukha siyang pansit canton. And yung picture dyan sa taas, so that's the Treponema pallidum, okay, and the parts. And then, walang mali siya, that's a penis with a solitary lesion called as chancre. Okay? May narinig ako pronunciation canker, pati ang spelling niya chancre, C-H-A-N-C-R-E. Okay? Na-discuss ko rin ito sa health assessment. Okay, it's a painless ulcer. Hindi siya masakit pero may sugat. Sometimes patients who are infected with syphilis are not aware that they got the infection, that they have the microorganism. Okay, unsuspecting sila kasi yung naka-sex nila malinis, maganda, mabango, sexy, ganyan. So akala nila malinis, yung pala may baon. Okay? So akala lang nila sugat, minsan hindi pa napapansin kasi nga painless, and it will heal on its own. Mga after 1.5 months, gagaling na yan. So hindi na napansin. Okay? So that's the primary stage. And then later on, may 4 stages yan. So it can remain dormant. Sometimes in other people, for the rest of their life, hindi nila alam na may syphilis sila. Okay? So, ano lang to, minsan incidental finding lang siya. Okay? So, nakikita yan sa blood. There's this test called as VDRL. So, ma-check yan. So, lalo na this is being done, hindi naman kasi routinely done. So, this is being done, this test is being done for sexually active individuals or individuals with a history of a sexually transmitted infection. Kaya minsan nakikita. Okay? Madali lang naman sana siyang gamutin. The drug of choice here is penicillin. Okay? Kaya lang, again, intramuscular yan. So, tumatagal. It can be it can have a latent, rephrase. Okay, syphilis is a latent infection. After the primary stage, which is again chancre, yung appearance lang niya. Tapos pag gumaling, pwede siyang manahimik for the rest of the life of the person. Or it can be reactivated. Pag na-reactivate siya, madalas matindi na. It can go up the nervous system. Okay, it can cause meningitis, encephalitis. It can cause seizures. So, yun lang kasi hindi nagamot agad. Kasi nga, hindi alam minsan na meron silang syphilis. Okay? So, yan. That's Treponema pallidum. Alright, so that's the last disease natin. So, just like for the gram-positive organisms kanina, I have provided here a table. Ayan ha, lahat na binigay ko ha. May you have here a table that you can use for your review of the different gram-negative organisms, the key characteristics of these organisms, the major diseases that it causes, and the hallmark manifestations. Okay? So, Neisseria, meningitis, gonorrhea, E. coli, Klebsiella, Proteus, Pseudomonas, Vibrio, Haemophilus, influenza, Bordetella, chlamydia. Did I miss anything? I think wala naman. Kompleto naman. Okay? So, that is, I think, the last one. All right. So, yeah. All right. So, that's the last one for our lecture for today. I hope you find the lecture interesting. Kasi ito na yung mga microorganisms natin. Kilala nyo na sila. You have seen them up close and personal and the diseases that they are causing. All right? So, next na natin, viruses. So, we will now go to virology already after this one. So, next week.